2020 was a year unlike any other in recent memory. We'll look back at some of the high points during an otherwise challenging year.
Welcome to this edition of Lake Area Beat. I'm Kurt Friesen.
And I'm Tracy Menarchuk. We're taking in some of the holiday decorations here in downtown White Bear Lake.
So 2020, if you had to sum it up in one word, what would it be?
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, terrible. Overall, just terrible, right?
It's been a relentless year, and
Yes.
we'll get through it.
Yes.
In time. So
Perseverance, I think you said.
yes. That's the key. Just
Yes.
keep fighting through it. So.
Needless to say, I'm happy to enter into a new year, but there were some bright spots in 2020, and we're going to relive a few.
Despite all the negative news, there were many examples of people helping people.
Members of the Rotary Club of White Bear Lake gathered together in the early days of the pandemic to feed those in need.
So that's my 99th bag.
The White Bear Rotary here packing food, and they're packing kid packs, which kid packs is for students that are at the school that are experiencing food insecurity. This is a little package of food, a couple of dinner items, mac and cheese, a couple of snack items like granola bars and that kind of thing, and a couple of breakfast items, cereal, some of those type of items that help sustain kind of when the food programs are not going on during the weekend.
Now I'm going to cry if you ask me that. I just can't imagine these kids not eating and their families. It's so hard for everybody right now. So it just makes me feel good.
We care a lot, yeah. And when you're talking about feeding children, I mean, who wouldn't get emotional about that? That's why I've been involved with the food shelf all these years as well.
The content of what we're packing hasn't really changed. The intention of that really hasn't changed, but I think the purpose of that, I think people really are even more focused in on the need and wanting to provide for the need of people in our community that are struggling. And so.
Be able to live in a place like White Bear Lake, especially in times of trouble, and to be able to have these opportunities, we're pretty blessed.
It was a hard year for first responders, especially in the days and weeks following the death of George Floyd.
Police Chief Julie Swanson and Captain Dale Hager spoke candidly with our production crew about the difficulties of policing during these times and public perception.
I think that we've been through a lot of hills and valleys in this profession just since we started in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I certainly think we can name some highs. 9/11 was a horrible incident, but in months and even years after 9/11, we couldn't get enough hugs from the public. Everybody loved police and military, and we kind of all got lumped into one. And that was a high. We were kind of floated on that high for a few years, and then you run into valleys of Ferguson, and now in the last few weeks the same situation.
I watched the video, and it just kind of made me sick to my stomach. My heart fell when I heard him crying for his mom. Some of the emails that we got those first few days were, White Bear Lake needs to ban chokeholds. Well, we didn't allow them to start with. We don't train for that. And just, you have to change your training, and you have to do this training. And I think we what we have done since then is done a better job of sharing with our community the training that our officers do receive, because I feel that we're very progressive in it. We've put a lot of thought into what kind of training we have, whether it's mental health or crisis intervention.
And I'm proud of our department that we have created that. You have nothing to be fearful of. If you see a problem, say something. And I suspect, just like Chief said about, the folks that are standing by and seeing an inappropriate use of force being done on somebody, I would think that they'd be able to stand up and just go, that's not right.
The more informed they are, typically the more satisfied they are. And you can't shy away from informing people of what we do and how we do it and why we do it, because if you're doing it appropriately, then there's nothing to hide.
We don't have the luxury of being able to be political or even personal on the job. We have to do our job, and we have to be fair to every member of our public, and I really feel like our department does that well. I think that we understand people's plight, and we understand how we won't hit a home run every time when we're dealing with the public, but we really understand that our goal is to provide the best service that we can to the citizens of White Bear Lake. We may have some recruiting problems coming up in the near future with the perception of law enforcement by some in the country or in our state. But I think that over time, I think the right people will get into the profession for the right reason, and I think we'll be able to kind of overcome that.
Our officers are very dedicated to their community. Our whole department is, and they take great pride in where they work and how they serve and how we are perceived by our community. Nobody wants there to be a poor relationship, or they don't even want one person to think poorly of us, because we try so hard to do the right thing, be the right thing, and be there for our people, our community. And it's just really important. We have a great group of people. I'm really proud of them.
Did you get the feeling there were any misperceptions during your summer field work?
Yes, for the most part, I think it's good because we have a really good relationship with our community, and we always have. But I think with the quarantine, everybody staying at home, people get inside their own heads and start to think the worst of people, and mistrust comes out. So I'm looking forward to all of that being over, the pandemic moving on, and getting back out in the community and talking to people and building that trust back up again.
I agree. It'll be good.
Another silver lining during the pandemic is the way in which businesses are helping each other. While producer Mary Klein and photographer Nick Anderson were downtown covering the elf hunt, another story took shape.
They quickly discovered a common theme among businesses that was collaborative rather than competitive. Here's their story.
Survival has been the reality for many small businesses long before the most recent restrictions, but looking on the bright side of things, downtown businesses are pulling together in support of one another.
If one suffers, we all suffer.
Bill Rust has been running his architecture firm for 41 years. They specialize in everything from porch renovations to commercial properties, renovating 600 dominoes across the country. Business has been good, but he worries about those that are suffering.
It's frustrating because we worked on the Brick House restaurant right next door, and a brand new restaurant just starting out and trying to make a go of it, and then all of a sudden we're hit with the pandemic and stuff.
It's why he continues to commission ice carver Roger Rust, no relation, to carve sculptures around the downtown. He hopes by attracting spectators, he'll bring in business to local shops. And though the warm weather isn't good for the ice, it was good for attracting a crowd.
People are so shut in, and they just need a little space to go around. And then this event was really, really nice because a lot of people don't get to see the ice get carved or an ice carver carving at all. And so it's nice that Bill Rust brings this in for the community to enjoy every year.
Downtown businesses have collaborated on a new initiative, the Elf Hunt. With the list of participating stores, hunters are encouraged to search for elves hidden inside.
Yes! Found it! Found it!
All the L's have names, and hunters write them on a list for a chance to win prizes.
Lotta Love has made a special appearance. Lotta Love is hiding in my truffle case.
Susanna Garodischer, owner of Love Ice Cream in North St. Paul, has recently expanded into White Bear Lake, selling sweets that are soy, dairy, and gluten-free and keto-friendly. She says business has taken a hit during the pandemic, but loyal Love followers have been incredibly supportive.
There definitely has been a focus on supporting small business, on supporting Main Street shops. It's needed, it is valued, and it's so appreciated.
All Love products are plant-based and made by hand and can be found at the 2 stores, Kowalski's, Hy-Vee, and Amazon. Like Garodischer, shop owners seem to embrace the idea there's power in numbers, and the support for each other is echoed door to door. We're helping one is helping all.
This is a way to show the community we're really a part of the community. We want people to come out and participate, shop locally, shop small in the downtown area.
So did you get out and do any elf hunting?
Not this year.
Oh,
You know,
I found an elf, but I didn't know I was supposed to.
Yeah, no.
So,
Yeah, no, I didn't get a chance to, so I missed out. So.
yeah. Well, it's nice that they did that to get people coming to their stores, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Coming up after the break.
A local man's prized possession makes it all the way to the White House.
We all know it was a tough year for small businesses, especially the ones deemed non-essential.
Salons were forced to close for several months, and one local shop owner shared how she survived.
Thank you for calling Urban Edge Cuts. This is Jenny.
As Jenny Rustad prepares for the June 1st opening of her salon, Urban Edge Cuts,
I just want to make this temporary, obviously.
she reflects on being shut down for over 2 months due to COVID-19. Her doors were officially ordered closed at 5 p.m. on March 17th.
You think about your bills, feeding your child, doing the homeschooling on top of it, and so it's definitely been tough going through this, especially when it's like I'm healthy. I should be able to work. I should be able to do my job.
Rustad opened her salon on White Bear Avenue more than 5 years ago and has experienced a booming business, her loyal client base helping her weather the storm, waiting for the governor, deeming salons as non-essential businesses, to allow them to reopen.
Our clients are so great to us. They've done what they can with either purchasing gift cards or, reaching out any way they can to help us out is just really proven to me we're good. We're gonna be booming once we can open again.
The opening isn't a return to normal. There are rules in place, including longer appointment times to allow for cleaning between clients, practicing social distancing, and both clients and stylists must wear masks.
Okay, otherwise Monday, Sarah does have a 5 p.m. or a 6
Just days
p.m.
before opening, Rustad says she's booked several weeks out, people anxiously awaiting a return to a simpler time when stylists not only did hair, but served as a sort of therapist.
We're really the one person that they can come and vent to, and so we'll have lots of stories to catch up on with our clients, with them, and ourselves.
A lot of the owners echo just what she said. It's the generosity of the patrons that helped and continue to help them.
It certainly is. And we've got another tale of survival. Captain Dale Hager not only survived a stroke, but he's made a complete recovery. thanks to the quick actions of his coworkers.
Here's his story.
It was just surreal. It was such a surreal moment that that I went through, and I suppose there's a little bit of, really, I'm that guy? Like, I had a stroke, you know? As soon as I got up, I fell right under the desk right here, and that's when I'm looking at my arm and my leg in the same field of vision and thinking, I can't move these right now. So I'm having a stroke. And so I knew I was having a stroke at that moment. And the chief walks in the door, and, and I won't use the expletive that she used, but she walked in the door, she goes, what are you doing, right? And I looked at her and I went, roar, 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 roar. And she went, you're having a stroke. I said, yeah. At the very least, I owe the quality of life I have now to Regents Hospital, to Health Partners, to Dr. Hussein.
Oh, hey! I really enjoy what I do. I'm a stroke neurologist. We always quote a study that estimated that for every 1 minute the stroke treatment is delayed, about 10 million neurons, 10 million brain cells die. So we are fighting the time. Dale was fortunate and that he called for help right away, and of course he was brought to the hospital right away, and he came in the perfect time. We want to see patients as early as possible, and he came early, and that helped him.
My kids are probably irritated with me because I hug them way more now than I have ever hugged them before. There, by the grace of God, go I, right? I mean, any day could be your last day, and so I guess I feel that way.
I believe you were one of those coworkers that was there that day?
Yes, and Captain Hager is a very funny guy, and you know, we joke around a lot at the police department, and so when we found him in that situation, it was, you know, you felt like, oh, this isn't real, you know, so it's different than when we're dealing with the public. We know we're there to do a job, but when we're in our building with a coworker, it's a little different. So it was a little unnerving. So we're very glad that he's doing well and that he
absolutely
got the help he needed.
Yeah, very.
Thanks to your quick response, our quick response.
Right, I think that's exactly it. That it was a joint response by police and fire that helped him get the help he needed right away, so he could make a full recovery.
Yep.
So
that's great. In our next story, our crew visited a local couple to hear about a letter from the president that was part of the story, but there was something much bigger happening.
It's a great example of how some things are just meant to be.
Here within the walls of this waterfront home is a couple whose lives are as inspiring as the land they were built upon. Lives well lived even as they face the realities of age.
Saying yes, dear, really works.
Bernard and Diane Rappa married 61 years with 5 sons, 12 grandchildren, and a great-grandchild. Almost never were.
This is boo-boo.
The two met in college, and after dating for 2 years, Diane sent Bernard a Dear John letter. About 6 months later, Bernard took a trip to Canada with friends to go skiing, and as is the case sometimes in this life, a greater hand seems to have been at work.
I got halfway down this mountain and to rest, and I look over and we had been broken up for maybe 6-8 months. Looked over and I thought, that's Diane.
It was indeed Diane, who happened to be skiing on the same Canadian slope at that same moment with her new boyfriend. But he was at the bottom of that mountainside, and here were Diane and Bernard on top of the world, getting reacquainted and reunited.
Think of that. On a cold winter's day in Canada, they meet up with your ex-girlfriend. I mean, so I always thought it was God's will that we be together, and it was.
That unwavering faith is what's guided the Rappas over decades of life. The duty to serve their country and each other remains steadfast, especially now as Bernard, 84 years old, cares for Diane, who's living with Alzheimer's.
You want to do your nap? Or no, you can't nap. You got to come sit with me. You know, we're in this together.
During their younger years, camping and canoeing were favorite pastimes with their sons, navigating sometimes treacherous waters with this paddle, which became a symbol of family to Bernard.
The cross is right down here in the paddle handle.
Long retired yet filled with history, the paddle seemed bound for greater things than collecting dust on the Rappa's porch. And in the middle of the night after the first presidential debate, Bernard felt the commander-in-chief needed a little inspiration, and he reluctantly let it go.
Oh, he'll never get it. He'll be 6 months before he ever gets it, if he ever gets it. So I thought, I'll just bypass him, send it to Pence.
And then one day, about 3 weeks later, a letter arrived from Pennsylvania Avenue. His first words upon reading it, simple yet profound.
I don't know if I want to say it on camera. Holy S. As Commander-in-Chief, I extend my sincere gratitude to you for your service in the United States Army. America enjoys the blessings of hard-earned peace and prosperity because of unyielding patriots like you who courageously answered our nation's call of duty to defend our cherished freedoms. God, I was on cloud nine.
Having read it countless times, it still stirs something deep within when he reads it again, believing it to be genuine.
Bled through on the back in different areas, so I believe it's authentic. Maybe I should take and have his check to see if his fingerprints are on it, but no, I won't do that.
And though it cost him $80 to send the paddle and the White House just $1.20 to send the letter, it was worth every cent to hold the piece of paper in his hands and most certainly his heart.
Rather than my sons throwing it in a dumpster, Trump will have a library without question. They all do. And I think it'll make the library. So someday, maybe a great-grandson or a great-granddaughter or great-great-great, whatever, will go to his museum and they'll see my paddle and my letter. That's cool.
What an inspiring story. Coming up after the break,
We'll show you one of the best views in the city. This next story is one of hope. A young couple experiencing an unthinkable tragedy found healing in a building memorial to their son.
Friends, neighbors, and family, as well as strangers, helped raise money and hope through their support of this family.
There he was when he was first born.
From the moment first-time parents Craig and Becky Markovitz laid eyes upon their infant son,
So he's got his eyes open in those ones.
they knew he was something to behold.
It's really hard to see in this photo, but he's raising his eyebrows like he used to do.
Small in size, but big in spirit.
My first time being held, so you can see how small Aaron was.
His entry into the world was premature due to a condition Becky had called preeclampsia. Common in first-time mothers, it puts both mother and child at risk, and baby Aaron was born via emergency C-section nearly 3 months early, weighing just over 2 pounds. With immature lungs, he struggled to breathe.
I didn't really see the tubes, I guess. I just saw him, and he was so perfect and so beautiful, and you could just feel his love and his joy, and that's how we remember him.
Memory so precious to them now. For just 7 weeks later, Aaron, fighting for his life, took his last breath.
We woke up that morning and we went to see him in his hospital room, and they told us that the night before that his oxygen level was so low that he just wasn't going to make it. So we spent all that day with him. We held him, we sang to him, and I like to say we poured all of our love onto him that we could in that day, and we said goodbye.
Shortly after Aaron's passing, the couple began fundraising to build a playground near their home in Matamidi, dedicated to Aaron.
And there'll be a nice big sign that says Aaron's Playground right on the castle.
Their goal was to raise $100,000, and in just 2 years, they raised $120,000.
Although we're very sad that he died, we're so happy that he lived. And so that's why the whole project is really about bringing joy to people. So, that's what we feel. We feel a little bit of sadness, but also we feel incredibly proud and incredibly joyous that we can share this with our community.
The day they showed us the framework for the park, they talked about the community build to take place several weeks later.
We got one guy coming in from Wisconsin who does
Milwaukee,
showing how human kindness can bring us together when we're physically so far apart.
Then we'll have about 40 volunteers coming and building the rest of it.
We have a beautiful day. We like to think that Aaron had something to do with that.
So I was concerned when we first got here that it seemed like there was a lot of work to do and people didn't know what they were doing, but they learn very quickly. So Chris will direct them what to build, and within an hour it's built.
Both Craig and Becky's parents, who live in other states, came to town to support their children during the big day.
Glad to see this finally happening and coming true. We've been thinking and talking about it, and Craig and Becky have been working on this for a long time. So it's going to be nice to have this done.
Cherishing their time with their granddaughter Mila, who was born in December.
Say hi. Can you wave? Nope.
Craig and Becky say they'll bring Mila to the park often, and though she won't grow up with her big brother in the physical sense, she'll know him through stories and through pictures.
Yeah, that's my finger.
Is that your finger?
Yeah. Yep, he's holding my finger there.
And though the pain over Aaron's loss is still very raw, they found comfort in building his memory by building a playground.
So many people, our neighbors that we had never met before, gave huge donations. Just people we never knew, just connected on a different level with us, and we could all use some good and to see the good side of humanity right about now.
Well, Kurt, what are your hopes for 2021?
Well, I think just to continue to make the best of every situation. Just take everything with a grain of salt and what it is. Mm-hmm. What about you?
Yep, we had a lady on here. We talked about mindfulness. So mindfulness, being mindful.
There you go.
It's time to say farewell, but we want to end on a high note. So we're bringing you the highest view in the city. Thanks to all who've supported us and shared their time and their stories with us. I'm Tracy Minarchuk.
I'm Kurt Friesen. Have a safe and happy New Year.